3, 2, 1.
What's up, Fight Bros Podcast listeners? We're back with Fight Bros Podcast MMA show number 30 today on the 25th of August. As always, I'm Marcus Burks, and this is my co-host, Albert Walters.
Hey, guys. Happy to be here. So we had some fights on Saturday night.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, man.
Me either.
I didn't think this one was good enough for me to kind of, sit down and watch.
And it was our boy Leaper's birthday.
Yeah, it was Leaper's birthday. So,
that triumphs anything.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I tell you, dude, me and Hannah were talking about those bumper cars for the next day.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, see, I was talking to Mary about that too. I was like, I always thought I was too grown. I was too mature to do that. And
that's for kids.
I would still play laser tag, but I would always think like I was too grown to do that. But that was nice.
Yeah.
Fight Bros Podcast maintenance crew out here.
Hey man,
along in our studio.
Our groundskeeper got to work. So, that's so funny. So yeah, like legitimately, anybody in the Christiansburg area, when you go to the Super Bowl, they've got bumper cars, and they're not normal though. They're bumper cars with an airbag.
And I like how the lights cut off and it did the disco ball spin around.
Yeah. And if you hit...
Disco ball spun and then your car would spin around, loud music.
Yeah, if you got hit on the side, your car would just spin uncontrollably. It was... Oh my God, man. It was so much fun.
See, and I couldn't figure that out the whole time. The whole time I was like, why do I keep spinning? See, I kept thinking it was something I was doing with
something with the handles. Yeah,
I guess the woman didn't explain it like good, or maybe I didn't hear.
Well, I couldn't understand her that well, to be honest.
Yeah, she was a little soft spoken, so I couldn't really understand. But,
yeah, and it's like driving a 0-turn mower. So
yeah,
it's kind of weird, but oh man, it was so much fun.
It was cool. Yeah, I would do it again for $5.
Oh, absolutely. I wish she would have let us keep going since. Yeah. Nobody was in line.
Yeah.
It's like, this ain't hurting anything.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was fun.
So let's jump into this UFC fight night last weekend that we didn't watch. So when we got home, from hanging out with Austin for his birthday, I turned it to the channel. I was like, I'm going to catch the last little bit. I'm going to catch this main event. And as soon as I turned it to it, Frankie Edgar was getting announced with his first victory at 135. Defeated Pedro Munhoz by split decision in this 5-round battle. And, what I've seen and read up on it, it was a war. And Pedro Munhoz is mad about it. He wants a immediate rematch. And a lot of people were calling, they said that Frankie Edgar's, debut, beating a top contender like Pedro Munhoz, he deserves a title shot next at 135 against Peter Yan. But a lot of people have a problem with that because you have this guy that's been grinding forever. A lot of people know him by Aljo, but Aljamain Sterling, you can't just hop that guy. And Dana actually put an end to this kind of talk after the fight, which he was saying, Aljo's getting the next title shot against Peter Yan. And, that's what we've all been expecting. But Frankie Edgar could still get a title shot with only having to, fight one person at 135.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I wanted to keep this up for discussion. So do you believe Frankie Edgar should have to fight another top contender in this 135-pound division? Because the way things work out in the UFC, I could see the UFC doing Aljo and Peter Yan in December, and then the winner of that, Frankie Edgar not having to really get another fight at 135 and then getting that title shot,
Yeah. Well, the thing is I think it kind of varies when you're talking about these lower weight classes versus the higher weight classes. Like, you could see that. Like, if oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Light heavyweight champion?
Well, John Jones was.
No. So yeah. I was saying, like, if John Jones went to heavyweight, he could probably, like, get to fight the champ or next to the champ and only have one fight in order to get a title shot.
Yeah, but you got to be a big name.
Yeah, you got to be a big name.
He's a legend.
Edgar is a big name. However, in these lower weight, but in the higher weight classes, you just don't have as many people.
Yeah.
In these lower weight classes, you've got a lot of people whining and grinding. I mean, you could have someone who's top 9, top 10, but become like top 2 or 3 after just a fight or two, like because there's so many fighters. So I don't know if we're talking about Aljo getting a title shot. I feel like the fairest thing to do is, even though he lost, it was still split decision. You know, I could see Frankie Edgar getting it, but I don't know if he deserves it over Aljo.
Yeah, I mean, Aljamain Sterling definitely, he needs to get that title shot first.
Yeah, I think so too.
Frankie, in my opinion, I think Frankie needs to beat some of these top contenders. I know Cody Garbrandt is dropping down to 125 to challenge for that belt against Dave Verja, I believe is how you pronounce it. Dave Verja Figaro.
Is that the smallest weight class on the
male?
That's
the smallest men's weight class, 125. That one's, that's tough.
Oh my gosh, man. Could you imagine being 125 pounds again?
Yeah, I know. I never really was. Well, I mean, I was at some point, but like.
Yeah, I just remember skipping that weight.
Yeah, I kind of skipped it because I remember the first time I could run the ball was like in 6th grade, and I had to drop about 5 pounds to get at that 130 limit.
Yeah, and that was in 6th grade, man.
Yeah, and that was in 6th grade.
Like, holy cow, 125 pounds?
Yeah.
I have like...
And you're talking about guys in like their mid-30s doing that weight.
Yeah. These aren't kids or even like small teenagers. Oh my gosh, man. I just couldn't even imagine being that small again.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if like I lost all my fat and all my muscle, I don't even know, like, and just got down to like a very skinny size, I don't even know if I could be that small.
Yeah.
Just because of like structure. Oh my gosh.
I don't think I could get any lower than 155.
No. Yeah. See, I think that's where my body would limit me at, is about 155.
Yeah.
Without getting down to like extremely anorexic, unhealthiness. So, wow. That's just crazy. I mean, I know it's always been there, but holy cow, that's so crazy to talk about.
Yeah. And Frank, I mean, it looked like a tough weight cut for Frankie. It looked like his body was just totally depleted.
Yeah.
But, man, I just think he's got to I think he's one fight away. He's one more fight, but he has to do this other fight. And, I mean, I think TJ Dillashaw might be coming back. He was assigned a 2-year suspension. I believe his 2 years should be served somewhere around that January time.
Okay.
So TJ Dillashaw, you would have him top contender. You got Garbrandt. You got Marlon Moraes.
One way that this could turn out is because you've got a lot of top contenders, and I don't think it's necessarily fair for Frankie Edgar to step in front of those. So he fought Aljamain, and so even though Aljamain lost, maybe he should still get that title shot, and maybe it wouldn't be bad for Frankie Edgar to fight like Garbrandt or Dillashaw. Yeah, because those guys...
Or Marlon Moraes. Actually, Marlon Moraes would be a really good fight.
Yeah, it actually would be, because maybe Dillashaw should kind of get a gateway fight, considering he's been out for 2 years. And
yeah, Dillashaw's, when he comes back, he's going to get something big.
You think so? You don't think they're going to give him like a skimming fight just to start him out?
Just because of the bad blood between Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt, if Cody Garbrandt were to be able to drop down to 125 and win that title like he is scheduled to be fighting for, that 125-pound title, I believe that TJ Dillashaw they might have that third fight between them at 125 just because of the bad blood and the money they could make. Yeah. And, with TJ getting popped for what he got popped for.
What was that again?
I forgot what it was, but what it does is it makes your cells be able to handle more oxygen. So your endurance and stuff is just way better. So it was a performance-enhancing drug, and he owned up to it. Like, he legit was cheating. It wasn't a Nate Diaz situation where he got it from a multivitamin
or a Romero situation.
Yeah, or a Romero situation that was tainted. Like, he legit was taking a performance-enhancing drug to increase his
at least he owned up to it. Yeah. Like, that's decent. I mean, maybe that'd be the best way for that to go. I just don't think in a weight class with so many contenders, you deserve to get it after one fight. Now, if Aljamain Sterling was like the cream of the crop, ready to fight for the title, and Edgar came in here and just like whooped him and just like made it look like, you know, like Miocic against Sterling or something insanely different like that, then, you know, you could be like, wow, he probably deserves a title shot. But now, you know,
win by split decision
doesn't. I don't think that qualifies you to get a title shot immediately. So.
But speaking of 135ers, that I'm not gonna say top contender because he's not a top contender, but a lot of hype around him. Sugar Sean O'Malley, he was not so humble in his defeat against Chito Vera on his podcast last week. He stated that Chito is not a very good fighter. He pretty much said he beat himself. He said that Chito's punches were slow, and he said, look at his career and his 5 years into the UFC. He's a journeyman. He was like, in 5 years, I'll be a champion.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on this, man? I just find this is just mind-blowing.
Well, see, you know, I don't know. The kid might be an idiot. However, he also might be pulling like he also might just be like Covington and McGregor, just trying to be like showboaty, because people are hopping on that train. They realize like when people hate you, they want to watch you lose. And so that keeps you in the UFC. And so maybe he's like, I'm going to say this crap just to make people mad so they can watch me fight again. Like, but if he isn't saying it for that and he actually believes it, this guy's an idiot. Just own up to it. You lost, man.
My problem with it is you don't have to be humble.
You do have to be humble.
I mean, you have to be humble, but he doesn't have to like say he respects the guy and this and that.
But you can be like, I lost. Yeah,
like I lost. He finished me because at the end of the day, he did finish him. He kicked him and it messed up that peroneal nerve. They broke it down. They had multiple doctors break it down. That nerve wasn't activating itself in the leg, which kept causing him to, turn his ankle and fumble and all this and that. So at the end of the day, Chito Vera damaged his leg and finished him. And when he was down on the ground, O'Malley's arms, you know what I'm saying? He got finished. He got finished by TKO with punches.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people criticized him because they said, you got carried off on a stretcher and you could have still kept fighting.
Yeah.
And you know who criticized him? And a lot of people were killing him because of this person who criticized him. Ben Askren. He was the one who made the statement that said that you should not have got carried off in a stretcher over that. And, like I said, I'm not a UFC fighter. I've talked to you about this. I don't know what they go through, but multiple UFC fighters are coming up saying that, they've had that happen to them. Henry Cejudo had that happen to him. He kept fighting. I believe he finished that fight. Michael Chandler finished the fight. I don't remember if they won or not, but they kept going when that happened.
Yeah.
And they criticized him. They said that he could have kept going, and they feel like he kind of gave up.
Yeah.
So, but the main thing, my criticism is I feel like he got finished, and I don't like how he's going about it, because that dude's a veteran. I mean, he's an up-and-comer and stuff, I wish I would have put money on this fight, like I told you.
I've kind of been wanting to get into that.
I would have made some money. I wouldn't have put too much money on it, but I might have would have put like $50 on it, and I would have made like $75, I think.
Yeah,
it was, but yeah.
Yeah, like I've thought about getting into like light sports betting, because it's like you put in $20. If you lost it, you only lost $20.
Yeah, because I'm pretty good at like Rousey's first loss against Holly Holm. This was before I was even a UFC fan. I predicted that. I remember looking at ESPN one day and I was like, Holm is going to win.
Yeah. And
then on that same card was McGregor Diaz won. And I was like, Diaz is going to win. This was before I was even a Diaz fan or anything. And then I remember I watched that first pay-per-view and I was like, man, I mean, now my decisions are crap. People who listen to this podcast, y'all probably know my record on predicting fights has been crap lately. Like, none of my guys that I predict, like Yoel Romero, he hasn't won the last couple of times I picked him. Diaz, Mike Perry. There's been some guys. So, I'm not always the best on decisions, but when it's a big one like that, I got it. But wish I would have won some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, so moving on, Dana White confirmed that Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson are going to be fighting.
Yeah, so this is what we've been wanting, man. They've just been feeding us all these fan fights that we want to see, and this is more than a fan fight. This is one of those fights that two guys at the top of the division that need to fight each other in order to, because arguably one of these guys, whoever wins this fight, could possibly face Conor McGregor or could possibly get a title shot because they're right there at the top. And both guys would make sense against Conor. Both guys would make sense against Justin. Justin Gaethje, if he could beat Khabib. And honestly, either one of these guys deserve. Ferguson never got to fight Khabib, but if he won this fight, he would deserve a rematch against, possibly Khabib or Gaethje, whoever wins that. But this is a barn burner, man. These guys are going to throw down. There ain't going to be no takedowns. It's going to be, it's just going to be all stand-up. And it sucks because one of these guys has to lose. That's what sucks. And I don't want it to be Ferguson, man. He's 36. You didn't get to watch his fight against Justin Gaethje. No. But I got that pay-per-view. That was one of the ones I got by myself. But I got that one. And, dude, it was hard to watch, man, because Tony Ferguson – just what we've seen about him and how elite he is, it was so tough to watch him get beat like that by Justin. Mm-hmm. I mean, Justin, and this was without fans, and you could just hear the punches. I mean, it was just deep, man. And then when Ferguson got finished, it was so hard to watch because he got hit real hard in the eye, and then his, equilibrium just went, and he kept, shaking his head, I guess his ears maybe were ringing or something. It was something going on with the equilibrium, and he just kept shaking his head, and he was still going to fight. He was still trying to fight, and the ref finally stopped it. But, I mean, it could have been stopped a couple of times before. So, Ferguson's a warrior, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't wait for this fight whenever it is, but Dana confirmed it last.
Do you think it'll be it should be by the end of the year.
Yeah, December, January, because they've been announcing stuff that some fights that we're about to talk about later in the podcast, they got announced for December. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, hopefully we get to see that. Like I said, December, I would hope.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, man.
I know we'll get into this later, but who you're rooting for Ferguson?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ferguson, man, because I kind of hold this against Dustin. I don't like how he pulled out of the Diaz fight.
Yeah,
but I like Dustin Gaethje. I mean, I like Dustin Gaethje.
Dustin Gaethje.
I like Dustin Poirier. He's a warrior, man. That fight that him and Paul Felder had just made me, have so much respect for him.
Yeah.
But I want to see that Diaz fight. He keeps mentioning it and stuff. And
I don't think he'll get it though.
Maybe it doesn't make sense, but I felt like it should have happened. It was booked and Dustin pulled out, and then 2 weeks later he said his hip was fine. I didn't like that.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm going for Ferguson.
Yeah.
That dude's a monster.
But I want Ferguson, man. I don't know. I feel like Ferguson deserves it, man. All that he's been through in this sport, he deserves to have that UFC title on his waist. And it'll be if he was to win and then fight Khabib. Have the Khabib fight scheduled for the 8th time. That never happened. Yeah. Or fight Justin again. I'm not saying I know how it goes, but as much as he's put into this sport, I would just like to see him be a champion. Yeah. Not an interim champion like he was, because, at the end of the day, that's not the undisputed.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's not the actual champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see Ferguson, but, speaking of champs, we've got some cool news. I almost feel like this is cooler than fight night this week.
What, the next topic?
The next topic.
No, it ain't cool, man.
You don't think that's cool?
No.
Dude, this is Kimbo Slice
stuff.
He
ain't gonna get no response, though.
No, but if they did it,
Yeah.
Don't you think it would be the coolest thing?
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool, but they got.
It'd be cooler than the fight night this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, it would. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If they did it. Yeah. So we'll let you in on the inside story. Leon Edwards might fight.
No, he's calling.
He might fight. I know, but if you say he might fight, that sounds so interesting. But realistically,
it's not gonna happen. I don't even think he's gonna fight him in the UFC.
Yeah, I know. Well, Leon Edwards is like calling out Masvidal and is like, let's have a street fight posted on YouTube. However, but it's like if you're like Leon Edwards might fight George Masvidal in the street, and post it on YouTube, then you're like, oh,
there's just no way it would happen because Edwards is all the way over here, and I don't remember where he's from. I think he's from England or something.
Yeah, Edwards is from England.
And see, that's the problem, man. And that's the problem I have with this is Leon keeps on calling out everybody on Twitter, and he hasn't fought in so long. Now, don't get me wrong. He's on an 8-fight win streak, a 7 or 8 fight win streak. He's been beating guys. I can't remember even the best guy he beat. But it's because he hasn't fought in so long. And at the end of the day, the UFC,
was his last fight like, it wasn't Usman. It was.
Nah, do you got your phone? You look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Just look it up real quick.
How do you Google that? Like Leon Edwards' last fight? Okay. But what were you saying?
Yeah, but I mean, the tough thing is fans remember you off what you did recently. Like, they remember your last fight, but they also remember if it was recent. Like, I guarantee you nobody's talking about Conor McGregor beating Donald Cerrone right now. It happened too long ago.
Yeah.
It happened in January. People aren't worried about that. But what they are talking about is people still talking about Justin Gaethje beating Tony Ferguson. Now he's fighting for a title. You know what I'm saying? These active guys. People's talking about Gilbert Burns, the way he put it on Tyron Woodley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just look up his last 4 fights or something. That's how I usually
Google
type
that.
it in.
How do you find that?
Let me see right here. Usually they got like an ESPN profile. Yeah, ESPN.
Oh, okay, that's what. Okay.
His last fight was against RDA. So let's see. He beat Donald Cerrone in 2018. He beat Gunnar Nelson in 2019, and his last fight was a year ago. So we're on the 25th today. His last fight was July 20th, 2019.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and that was against RDA, a former 155-pound champion.
Wow.
But RDA hasn't shown that same ability in that 170-pound weight class.
Yeah. That's
what I don't agree with. I understand, man. You're on these 8-fight win streak, and you're asking for these fights. But you gotta fight somebody, man. Like, yeah. And I know it got tough. He had that fight scheduled with Tyron Woodley, and COVID messed it up.
Oh, that's Woodley, what I was thinking of.
Woodley still fought, and then Leon Edwards. I mean, I think there's. I don't.
No,
think there's
because I think initially there was travel restrictions, wasn't there?
Yeah, so that's why he wasn't able to fight Tyron Woodley.
I remember. That's who. Yeah, it wasn't Usman
because they wanted. So he was supposed to have that fight against Tyron, and I mean, who knows how that would have went? I don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's as good as Gilbert Burns. But
no, I don't think he deserves Masvidal either. Like you said,
my thing is, like, I understand, man. Like, you're on an 8-fight win streak, you've been winning, but you ain't fought in a year. Like, and Masvidal's profits out the roof. Gilbert Burns, man, he dominated the former welterweight champion Tyron Woodley that had like 4 or 5 title defenses in a row. He dominated him in 5 rounds. People know who he is. Colby Covington, people know who Colby is. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these guys got stock. Even Woodley has stock. And, I was talking to you about this earlier. Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley's happening in September 19th.
Yeah.
So I think the winner of that is going to get the winner of Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman. Because it would make sense. Even though Woodley's coming off 2 losses, Colby Covington's the number 1 contender. Colby has proven, other than Usman, he's the top. He's the top. He was going to beat Kamaru Usman if Kamaru Usman didn't finish him.
Yeah.
So.
There was proof in the pudding there. I just don't think. I don't think Dana White's going to make it that easy for.
He might not make it that easy for Woodley.
Yeah, not for Woodley. But if Colby wins,
Woodley,
I think Colby might get a title
Woodley's
shot.
still number 5 or something, so he's still top 5. And, per the precedent that UFC has set, those top 5 numbers, any of those guys can get a title shot depending on injuries and different kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're in the top 5, you can get a title shot.
Yeah, but I think Woodley would need to beat Covington and need to beat someone else in the top 5 in order to get Usman.
Yeah, and that is true.
Like I think if he beats Covington, has a great win over him, has a great fight, then beats or even still wins but doesn't have a great fight but still wins, and then beats someone else in the top 5 with a pretty decent win, then I think Dana White would be like, fine, I don't like you, but I'll let you get this.
Yeah, and see, I just think Leon, man, not fighting since last July, I just think that's messed him up. And I know COVID did a lot of time, but I mean, they had the fights on Fight Island, and I thought the whole purpose of having fights on Fight Island was to be able to get guys over there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I feel like even if he took, a title fight against one of those welterweights at the lower end of that top 10, it would have got people to remember his name and stuff,
Well, you've got to think, he had from July till March, and that's 9 months right there, of time he could fight.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't, and I mean, I know Woodley was scheduled, but it's like,
it didn't get scheduled until closer to that date.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like he could have had a fight in January because you're seeing a lot of people have 6-month turnarounds.
Dude, and Masvidal's stock's still out of the roof, so they're gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? If Colby beats Woodley, they're gonna try to probably book Colby versus Masvidal, and then the winner of that'll get a title shot. You know what I'm saying? They might book Woodley versus Masvidal. That's not going to be the big. That's not going to
be such a big name.
That's not going to be Colby versus Masvidal is out of the roof. But Masvidal and Woodley they're under the same sponsorship, so they might not fight each other because they're kind of friendly with each other.
Yeah,
they're both sponsored by the same CBD company. They do a lot of sponsorships together, but. You know what I'm saying? So Masvidal, they're kind of putting him on the back burner right now, waiting for something to come.
Yeah, waiting for something good.
Yeah, maybe, him and McGregor. You got him and Usman rematch.
Him and McGregor would be a good moneymaker.
Yeah, and Dana knows that. So that's why we haven't heard of Masvidal right now because,
I feel like they have something in the works.
Yeah, he's going to get something big.
Yeah.
And,
So who knows what that is next. But, man, I think McGregor would be a great money fight.
Yeah.
A great fan fight. Moving on to less interesting news. Women's fighting.
No,
I'm just joking. That's so mean. No, I'm just joking. That was a joke I'd probably make off the air. But, no, it's not that. We've got Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson.
That 115-pound women division, man, that strawweight division.
That's interesting.
That's exciting. And then that 125-pound with the Zhang.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But
however, that's also got my girl, Jacek. Yeah. However, in what you could probably call the women's heavyweight for the UFC.
Yeah, it is the women's heavyweight.
Pretty much is Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson. And you were saying this before we cut the camera on, is that it's not as interesting because who's going to be a good fight for Amanda Nunes? Shevchenko and Cyborg.
Yeah.
So it's like,
or you got
what's her name?
What's her name in the PFL? Kayla Harrison.
Yeah. So it's
top judo. She's a top judo champion. I believe she's an Olympic world champion in women's judo. I want to see these big names versus Nunes. Megan Anderson got
real challenges.
Megan Anderson got beat by Cyborg. Whoever fought, I can't remember the girl's name that fought Amanda Nunes last. But where there's not enough names and enough big, there's not enough girls in this women in this division.
It's
there's
just
not enough big names that these fights aren't exciting. We needed Amanda Nunes, Cyborg too. I don't care that Cyborg got finished pretty quick. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody has a bad fight.
Yeah, we needed that fight because, there's really nothing left for Amanda Nunes. I mean, she's just sitting here cruising, making money.
Yeah.
I feel like, and this doesn't excite me, especially as a main event. They're going to have to make this card pretty well too.
Pretty stacked,
They're
yeah.
going to have to make probably a double title fight for the co-main event. And then, I want top 10 contenders fighting under those cards because, it just doesn't excite me. I just feel like a Munhoz is just going to handle Megan Anderson.
I agree. Getting closer to time, I might bet against Munhoz for fun. Put like $30 on Megan.
Now I respect her. She's the GOAT of women.
Yeah.
It's not exciting.
That's the thing. She's so good. Yeah. We need a better fight. So maybe Megan Anderson will rock her. Maybe Megan Anderson will knock her out. Who knows? At this point, I don't know enough about her. She ain't a big enough name to say that. So, but I guess that's all I really have to put on that one for now. Yeah. Since that's in December.
Yeah, I mean, moving on to another fight announced in December, top middleweights. Darren Till will making a quick turnaround to face top contender Jack Hermanson in this middleweight division. We knew that Till's stock was not going to go down after his loss to Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
We knew his stock wasn't going to drop. It was just so much of a technical fight. And, it could have went either way a lot of those times. I mean, he knocked Robert Whittaker down that one time during the fight.
Yeah.
But, my question is, he literally just had a 5-round fight with Robert Whittaker in July. Do you think he is making a quick turnaround fighting here in December?
I don't know, because that's 6 months, man.
It is, but that 5-round war, man. I mean, a lot of these good guys that you see, they're fighting twice a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not.
But it's usually like at the beginning and the end, they're getting a lot.
Yeah, and there's normally like an 8 or 9, 10, 11.
9, 10 or months.
Yeah, months between. However, okay. Where it was like a war, I think it's quick. If it was just like a quick little fight, whatever.
I mean, it wasn't like a war, but it was just very technical and going 5 rounds.
Yeah. And I think it's borderline, but it's like.
And his leg got injured in the fight, and I think he had to have surgery, and he was out for it. That's what I meant to say.
Oh,
this is like a quick turnaround just because of the 5-round fight he had. It's a quick turnaround because one, he had a 5-round fight with Robert Whittaker, very technical. Yeah. And 2, he was injured and had to get surgery for the injury. So now I just feel like all that adding up is a very quick return.
Yeah, but let's say he had a quick surgery. Let's say it wasn't a bad one, and you had like a 2-3 month recovery. Then after that, training's normally only 2 months for these fights. Like actual like fight camp's only 2 months. Doesn't mean you're not training all year round, but fight camp is only about 2 months. So a month of just like getting yourself back fit again, and then fight camp for 8 weeks, and then I think he'll be ready. Like I don't think it's too bad depending on the recovery time for his surgery.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to see him versus Israel Adesanya. Adesanya wants to go to Darren Till's territory. I can't remember where he's from again. Is he from? Where's Michael Bisping from? I keep saying all these guys are from England.
I'm not sure.
I think Darren Till really is from England. He's from wherever Michael Bisping's from, but Israel Adesanya said the other day that he wants to eventually fight Darren Till in his backyard.
Okay.
So.
Well, so out of
to see Till, Till's this guy, but I mean, hey man, they're giving him some top guys.
Yeah, out of Till and Hermanson, where are you leaning?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one to pick. It's just very skilled. I mean, I know Hermanson's not the biggest name to like the casual fans, but
no, it's not a big name to like just casual people.
He's good, man. I think he got knocked out by Jared Cannonier, but Jared Cannonier is a beast, and I mean Jared Cannonier is about to face Robert Whittaker.
I didn't even know that. See, I'm actually going for Till. Like, Till's a great fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go for Till in this one, but I'll go for him like opinionated. But
I could see it going. I could see it going to Hermanson.
I don't know who's gonna win, honestly.
Yeah, like it's pretty even matched. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like Vegas odds might put it towards Till.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's probably who I'll go for, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's not on the same card, is it? Though.
No,
Munhoz
that's a
and
fight
Till.
night. That's going to be the Teal versus Hermansson's going to headline a fight night.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Oh, sorry. Well, here's not a bad topic. I guess it's more of an opinion topic, though.
Yeah, this kind of popped up today because I was kind of thinking, like, we need something to talk about because there's not a whole lot going on. It's just rumors and, a couple of things. The fight nights haven't been good. Like, we really haven't had a good pay-per-view, like, to actually break down fights and stuff since 2 weeks ago when we had Stipe DC.
Yeah.
So, I just felt like this would be something cool to kind of get both of our opinions on. But do you think, with a lot of these UFC guys retiring soon, and they're so marketable, a lot of these guys that's been retiring, do you think that they should cross over to WWE because of the similarities? So these UFC guys cut legit promos. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they're cussing in them, and you can still cuss in WWE. You can pretty much say anything but the F word.
Which I've never understood that. Yeah, I think that's a social thing.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, they're all cuss words.
Yeah, so you can pretty much say anything but the F word in WWE. I know they use that a lot in UFC, but these guys legit cut promos that aren't scripted. They're cutting promo. I mean, Kobe scripts his, but he likes WWE, so that's why he scripts it.
Yeah.
But they already had that. They already have the wrestling background. You don't have. That's why Ronda Rousey was so easy, man.
Yeah.
She was. I don't think Ronda Rousey was good on the mic. I don't think she was marketable. I think they marketed her as a former UFC champion, and that's why people liked her.
Yeah.
But I feel like if she had the skills that she did without being in the UFC, I don't think she would have been that good in WWE. Yeah. And I don't like how she hasn't came back. She kind of did it for a little bit.
I know. I wish Rousey would come back, but I don't know if we'll ever get that.
I'm talking about to the WWE.
Yeah. No. Okay. Oh, no. I was talking about Rousey coming back to UFC.
Oh, yeah. I don't think she will. Yeah.
I don't think we'll get that ever since she got knocked out.
But I didn't like how she went and, called WWE fake, and she said, the fans. She called out the fans and all this and that. And I'm like,
what'd she say about the fans?
I don't know. She was like, what do they call? They call WWE fans marks when they're too into it.
Really? I didn't know that.
The people that wear the titles around. If you go to Roanoke and you see the people sitting front rows with the fake $500 titles and stuff. That's what they refer to those guys. They call them marks.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she pretty much said that, and I'm still kind of into WWE. I haven't been watching it as much lately.
You've always liked it.
Yeah, just because of the time. I've been putting more time into watching the NBA playoffs right now, and then UFC.
Yeah.
WWE just kind of got hard to keep up with, especially a 3-hour Raw show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard. Even if I record it, it's just really gonna sit here for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So back to what I was talking about. DC, Daniel Cormier has been rumored to be talking with Triple H since 2019 into this year. They've talked about it in 2020. Now, he's 42 years old. A lot of wrestlers, like Undertaker's still freaking going. Man's almost, what is he?
90?
Nah, he's what is he? He's close to 60, I think.
He's old.
Or he might not be close to 60, I think.
No, he's definitely got to be near 60.
He might be 55 or something. But
let's see.
Just look it up.
How old do you think he is?
It might be 54, 55.
Do you want to put money on it?
No.
Why? You should have.
I ain't got that kind of money.
You should have. He's 55. He looks bad, though.
Yeah, but, so, he's still taking bumps at 55, and him and AJ Styles just put on a heck of a match just a couple of months ago, and, he's 55 years old, putting on matches with, these guys like AJ
Gotta
Styles.
Hate AJ Styles.
Yeah. But, if you think about it, all of these wrestlers that are good that we like, AJ Styles, he's 39 years old. He might wrestle to these 45. Wrestling's different. Your prime in wrestling is late 30s to late 40s and 50, early 50s. That's your prime in wrestling.
I gotta agree. I think you're not seeing many people pushing 60 in the ring.
And see,
but as far as what were you going to say?
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, as far as UFC fighters coming over to any other platform of wrestling, of professional wrestling, I feel like they've got to be someone who can put on a show, though. It just can't be anybody.
Yeah.
Like Covington would be great at it.
And he already has been in Impact.
He was on Impact.
He was in a stable with Bobby Lashley. He didn't wrestle, but he was in this little stable. He was Bobby Leslie's, body. He was not really his bodyguard, but, they were all bros. And that was Bobby Leslie's crew. And Colby, he would hit people with chairs and stuff every now and then and take up for Bobby Lashley.
He'd be great at that. Yeah. But, then you look at someone, I don't know, like if you look at
Amanda.
Like Amanda Nunes.
Just not that great on the microphone.
Miocic.
Not that great on the
Miocic's
microphone.
more of like a fighter, not like a talker. Jacek, she's not really a talker. She's not a showgirl.
And Ngannou's not a talker, but you could market him like Brock Lesnar. You could market him where you have this guy, Brock Lesnar has this guy named Paul Heyman that does all the talking for him, and he's like, this beast right here, you gotta fight Brock Lesnar. And Lesnar's just sitting there pumping just his chest and stuff. And
you could do that. You could do that for Ngannou.
Yeah.
Because he's so big but you've got to get someone who looks like that Greek god to be able to do that. Who's just not very like a talkative person. Like Lesnar, the few times he has talked, you're like, whoa, man, put the mic down.
Yeah.
You sound dumb.
Oh, man.
Because he'll stutter.
You remember that promo he cut on DC?
Yeah, when he went up and pushed him?
That was awesome. And
it was awesome.
I've never heard him cut a promo in WWE. What did he say? He was like, I watched the disasters from the beginning.
Yeah, like this was a disaster fight.
Piece of crap. Miocic's the piece of crap, and that is cleaning it up. He said some other
POS.
Yeah, and then he was like, DC, I'm coming for you, you mother.
Yeah, and then he pushes him.
Yeah, and that was awesome. And then he pushed, he was interviewed, Joe Rogan was beside him, and Joe Rogan was scared. He pushed the camera while he was talking, beside Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan, backed up like he was legit scared.
I don't think he was scared.
He might not be scared.
I think he was backing up because he was like, I know you're going to come around me to push DC. I don't think he was scared.
And then I didn't like DC's promo back. He was like, get out of my octagon, Brock.
Get out of my octagon. Yeah, I know.
I didn't like that, and I'm the biggest DC fan.
It was dorky.
He should have said something else.
Yes, it was dorky.
Yeah.
No, I feel like they should, only if they could make a good career. I think only certain people could do that.
And see, I think...
I don't think they all retired.
Daniel Cormier can. He's already that WWE fan. He has relations with the WWE.
Yeah.
Big guys are in the WWE right now. Kevin Owens, big old stomach, man. And he does all this acrobatic stuff off the top ropes. He's one of the the best wrestlers they got in there. Mm-hmm. You got Keith Lee. He's this guy that just came out of NXT. He was the NXT champion. He's probably 6'5". He's probably 6'5", and he wears this wrestling thing. Big old stomach. Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? These guys, they got skills now. Now I'm not saying you ain't gonna see no DC flying off the ropes or nothing, but hey, we could see DC go in there and slam some people, do these takedowns like he has in UFC, and I think he would be really good. And I think he has a career in the UFC as a commentator.
As a commentator, yeah.
He could go over to WWE and commentate. You know what I'm saying? He could be like a Jim Ross. He's just that good where he could do that. But yeah, and like we talked about, and another guy, Triple C, Henry Cejudo. He was on AEW in a stable with Mike Tyson. This was a couple of months ago. Mike Tyson came out there and confronted Chris Jericho, and Henry Cejudo was in his stable. He had his Olympic medal on and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah.
And, these guys are entertaining, man. This is what they've done their whole life in UFC. Why not go make some more money on it for the next 10 years, being entertaining, just marketing yourself? You already have been.
Yeah, would it be bad? It'd be a great moneymaker. You would make so much more money doing that than you would in the UFC. So, if you can put on that show and you can be very flamboyant, and you're already a big name, because there's a lot of people in the UFC who retire who never make it past top 15 who you don't know their name, but they've been in that buffer for a while. And they're retiring. Who are they though? But so
maybe they could go over to the WWE Performance Center. You never know, man.
I think they'd be better off in like NXT. Like this
that's
guy,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, not WWE
Center, and then you start out in NXT. They used to have this show on WWE.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I liked it. It was like just any guy, like anybody, you would go and like. I mean, you'd have to send them like your Instagram and all this, and obviously they looked and seen how many followers you had and this and that. But like you sent them this stuff. It's called Tough Enough.
I remember
and then
that.
You got invited, and then like they looked for like. I remember they put this one guy on the show that he didn't win, but he got signed by WWE. His name was ZZ. He wasn't athletic. He didn't really have a wrestling background, but the people loved him. He was this alligator guy that he still has like this alligator swamp, and he, does alligator tours and sits there and opens alligators' mouths and does all kinds of cool stuff with alligators. Yeah. People loved him. His promos were awesome. And people loved him, and he got in the WWE. He ended up getting cut just because he was 21, and I guess he was a little too immature for what they wanted. But he was an entertaining guy, and he went far on Tough Enough. Yeah. And so, you don't necessarily have to have the skills. They work with you at the Performance Center.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's something cool, and that's something people, UFC fighters should consider, especially if they're not big names, Yeah. They already have the wrestling background. That means you're already steps
halfway there, yeah.
You don't have to work on, like that guy was talking about, ZZ. He would have had to work on all kinds of stuff. Yeah. They would just have to be like, I already have the wrestling background. Now I just got to work on the entertaining part.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, moving on.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. We got a fight night this weekend.
Be a little better than last weekend. I'm probably going to give this one a watch.
Yeah,
I'll probably watch the whole main card now. We ain't going to talk about all the fights on the main card. We're just going to talk about 3 of them.
Yeah, so we
really even break them down.
But, no, well the main fight is Anthony Smith versus Rakic.
Yeah, I think that's actually how you pronounce it because it has like the little apostrophe on there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I couldn't do it on the computer, but yeah.
Okay,
well, you probably can. I just don't know how to do it.
You're funny, man. I don't know much about Rakic, so just to be comfortable, I'm going to go with Smith.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about this because Anthony Smith, dude, he's coming off a beating he took against Glover Teixeira. 43-year-old Glover Teixeira, man, talked about how his guy he looked up to, his superhero, was Mike Tyson. I mean, Mike Tyson's like, what, 10 years older than him.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Something like that.
I think it's cool, man. After the fight, he was like, I dedicate this to Mike Tyson. And I just thought, like, that's awesome, man. This guy out there, people try to act like he's done because of his age. And he just went out there and put it on a top former title contender, Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
And, I love that fight with Glover Teixeira. So I wonder, man, where Anthony Smith's head's going to be at after this. I mean, you just got beat bad by Glover Teixeira. I mean, took some hard shots, and that can affect you. I mean, just like in any sport, when traumatic stuff happens to you, losses, setbacks and stuff, it's hard to come back with that mental focus on where you were at before,
Absolutely.
that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Once you fall, it's hard to get back up, and you're kind of a little weary of it. So I definitely understand the argument there to be like, where's he going to be mentally when he gets into that ring?
Yeah. I'm probably going to pick Smith though.
Smith?
Yeah, I think he's going to. He's one of those top 5 guys. I think he'll prove his worth, but I still wonder where his head's going to be.
Like I said, I don't honestly really don't even know Rakic enough to.
No, I don't know him at all. Yeah.
To even really say anything about this
that's
fight.
Why we got to watch these fight nights.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to see new people.
There's so many UFC fighters, man.
I can't keep up, man.
I think their roster's about 600 fighters, maybe. It's a lot.
Yeah, I can barely keep up with like heavyweight.
Yeah.
And partial light heavyweight and partial like middleweight.
Yeah.
When it comes to like anything less than that, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get them all mixed up, but it's because there's so many people.
Yeah.
Like, even when you're looking in the weight class of, like, Masvidal and Usman, there's still a lot of top contenders.
Yeah.
And even then, I get confused. I'm like, wait, what weight class are they in? So it's like, I can't keep up. So it's like lower weight classes, I'm just done.
Yeah. And see, I'm excited about this next one. That's why I'm wanting to watch it this weekend. We got Robbie Lawler, legend to the sport, Robbie Lawler versus Neil Magny. Neil Magny's kind of been one of those guys that always lingers around that top 10, moving into the top 5. He kind of lingers around. So what are we going to get? Are we going to get this Robbie Lawler that was just like a punching bag, man, against Covington? He just stood there and just blocked shots and absorbed all of them. I was just like, what, man? We want to see you finish him. We want to see you knock this dude's head off.
Yeah.
And he just, just kind of sit there and bobbing and weaving back and forth, wouldn't throw no strikes.
Yeah.
It kind of made you think that he was getting paid to lose or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, are we going to see that Robbie Lawler?
Or the vicious Robbie Lawler? Are we going to see this
vicious Robbie Lawler
that we've always had?
We're going to see that vicious Robbie Lawler that was the welterweight champ, considered the welterweight, one of the welterweight goats at one point. People are arguing for him for that. I think Robbie Lawler fought Roy McDonald, and there was a war. I
think we're going to see a conservative Robbie Lawler, somewhere between those. Someone who's going to be taking a lot, but also giving them back. And I feel like this is going to be a fight where we just have a lot of like stand in, watching, like, what are you going to do kind of a fight. I feel like that's what this fight's going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going for Robbie Lawler.
Absolutely, yeah.
But like, if I had to give you like an analyzation, I wouldn't really know which way to go. It's just kind of tough. It's just one of those fights you just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, if I had to pick, it'd be Lawler. But even then, I'm hesitant based on his last fight. Because when you see that, that's either a sign of maybe you did get paid, or maybe you're on that decline. Which, so like I'm hesitant to go towards Lawler. So maybe I'll go with Magny.
Yeah.
Screw it, I will.
Yeah.
I don't know Magny that well.
No, he's pretty good, man. He's like ranked number 9 in the welterweight division.
But I'm gonna be going for Magny.
Yeah, and I mean, so this is gonna be a good card this weekend. It looked like a decent 5 fights on that main card. Not really make a prediction on this because I don't know enough about the other guy, but in Kulaba, he is fighting again. This guy is a big prospect at light heavyweight. A lot of people probably remember him from when he fought Khalil Roundtree. He screamed in his face at weigh-ins, and Khalil Roundtree was caught off guard like this. And then he went out there and knocked out Khalil Roundtree viciously. And this guy paints for weigh-ins and stuff. He paints himself green, and he's the Hulk. That's his nickname, the Hulk. Yeah. And, he's a very entertaining guy, so definitely we won't make predictions on that one just because I just
don't know either fighter.
This guy, he's definitely entertaining, and he's an up-and-coming prospect at that light heavyweight division. So definitely decent pay-per-view, decent fight night to watch this weekend. I can't remember if it's on ESPN Plus or ESPN, but, definitely if you're a fan to the sport, definitely give this one a watch. If you're a fan to the sport, give every of them a watch. Don't be like us last weekend, but, it's our boy's birthday, so you
can't miss out on your boy's birthday. I guess I have nothing else to add about the last fight.
Yeah, that wraps it up, man.
I think so.
Show 30 in the books. Thanks for listening, guys, as always. And we'll see y'all next time.
See you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm tired.